Mic test, is everything all good, everything alright? Hold on, let me check my stream. So if my mic is alright and if you're watching this stream, wait a minute, hold on, give me 1 second, something is wrong. Anyway, if you're watching this in the future, which you probably would because I'm streaming at a place that is a little bit more, or at a time that's a little bit more off the time that I usually stream at. But anyway, today I will be, hold on, I don't know why I didn't change it for me, but let's go. There you go. Okay, so if you're watching this in the future, just know I'll this will be a pretty quick stream, or at least I'll try to make it to be a quick stream, which I'll only be talking about the 3 newest mecha that has come out in Iron Saga EN. And I know there's a new Pilot Awaken that came out in this week as well, which I'll go over that in my next live stream. For this live stream, I'll only go over the 3 mechas, so I think it's much easier because the titles only hold that much, words anyway, right? And technically it's 4 because we got, 2 of the new mechas as well. We got the things. Oh, hello, welcome. So, okay, let me show myself real quick. Okay, well, I'm not using my VTuber model at today, just so it's much simpler. Morning, good morning. Is audio fine? Is audio good? Definitely let me know if everything is fine, alright? Let me see. Good morning. Okay, seems like on YouTube is fine. If you're watching on Twitch, let me know if Twitch is fine, alright? So, but if YouTube is fine, Twitch is probably fine as well, so that's good. But good morning, yeah. Alright, so, Wolong. Oh, you mean Wolong, right? Okay, I'll get into that. Yeah, I'll get into that. So, what should we start today? Just some news actually. Actually, hold on. Is there actually any news? Give me 1 second. Let me just show. Let me check that. I didn't check that one. Well, there's a new mode which is not that great from the things I've heard. Of course, we got the collab between RS and IS, which I already talked about. I already made a video on. And yeah, there's this Vasago incident here, which I talked about in my Discord. So yeah, or I think I did. If I didn't, if you're interested, you can just check me out, or they can ask me on Discord. Anyway, so let's start. Let's start with the first. Let me see. Let's start with this one first because I hope no one rolled this. Yeah, I kind of do hope no one rolled this. And to answer the question first, yes, I think you should prioritize Wolong. Yes, yeah, you definitely should prioritize that. Because if you haven't used a free roll yet, which I hope you haven't, you definitely want to roll Wolong if you haven't rolled, if you haven't used up your free rolls already. If you haven't used up this roll already, you definitely want to use on Wolong if you don't have 1 copy. You only need 1 copy of Wolong, so you don't need more copies. You only need 1, or you only need 1 max Wolong. Not you don't need more than 1 max Wolong. You only need enough, which is 5 copies, to retrofit it to get a Thunder one, and you should be fine in PvP. Which even now in PvP, it is not a necessity now anymore. Just to show how scary it is, right? Ian delayed it by about a few months, so yeah, definitely prioritize on this one. And if you already have a max star Wolong, then you definitely want to go for something like Leviathan. Will be better than Kimikagesou. So yeah, get your 9-star or 10-star Wolong first, which is 5 copies. Or in total 5 copies, then I think you should roll Leviathan. Then, unless you already have Leviathan, then I think you can roll Kimikage, or you can save it until the next banner reset, which is in 19 days. Which there will be another, I think, 1 or 2 banner resets. So if you want to save until see if there's anything better later, so yeah. Takemi is PvE worth it. It's good, but it's not a necessity, which I'll get into that when I talked about Takemi as well. So yeah. Alright, so let's start with Kimikage because I think this one is the easiest one to get over. It's not It's definitely not like it's good. Like it's good if you count this as a free unit. Like if you use a free rolls on it and you got this unit, then yeah, and that will be as a free unit. Then that's good. But as a paid unit, that's just a little bit. How do you say it? Or as a premium unit, it is just a little bit underwhelming. So let's start from its chassis. Damage dealt by enemy had a 24% chance to be nullified, which I don't know what they're saying in the EN translation, but just know that yeah, all the enemies will have a 20% chance of their damage to be negated. Like the attack hit, but the damage will be gone essentially. So it's a very good skill. It's a really good skill for PvP. However, like this alone wouldn't really save like your team, I guess, or like both you and your team. Like it is a really good skill to have, and you definitely have an advantage if the enemy have this debuff on. Like basically, essentially every 4 attacks, you know, one might be negated. And if this functioned just like Chorus, then this can be funneled where, you know, even after this unit dies, right? Like the effect is still there, and the enemies will still be debuffed. So even if this unit dies, the enemy will still be debuffed. But this is probably the only good thing, or probably the 2 of the good thing that it really has, is this aura, which again, it's not high enough in my opinion. I mean, it is very high, but it is not high enough in my opinion to warrant switching out one of the meta units now, which is like, you know, like switching out Wolong or switching out some other like Zero or some other better units for this skill alone, right? So, and then upon ranging, it hits have a 20% chance to inflict additional acid damage equivalent to 1.5% of the target's max HP and absorb the amount as self HP. Now, this sounds pretty good, especially against Zero and such, but for some reason, this acid equivalent of 1.25% cannot break through Zero's armor for some reason. Some people in NC said that it is something like a set damage, therefore it couldn't damage. So if you think this is something against Zero, no, it's not. It just couldn't. It will just kind of be like an extra damage for anything that isn't Zero, which wouldn't be that significant. And you also would have to be hitting that unit constantly in order for the effect to take the best effect of it, I guess. The only thing that is really good at is that even though when it hit, let's say it hit Zero, right? It doesn't do over damage. This acid apply damage doesn't do over the damage. However, it can still gain the health back. So if you're shooting at Zero, you can get, like, this unit can get its HP back very, very quickly because it can just gain like thousands of HP per proc of this effect. But that's again the only it is good to have a skill that can get your HP back very quickly, but in a meta where you can die in 1 second, like max HP doesn't really matter, I guess. So yeah. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you, yeah. Finally, yes. Sorry for coming on this hour, because I don't want to do it in tomorrow morning for me, so yeah. Alright, anyway, so now on to, yeah, so Turtle Chest is actually not too bad, but it is not good enough to replace, you know, other unit that you might have, right? And then second chest is final damage value dealt plus 36%, just the usual now, and upon receiving damage, get a teleport and generate a clone on the spot. Activation 5-second interval and cannot be stabbed with other dodge and teleportation skill. Now, this skill sounds pretty good, but again, this alone is not gonna save it from certain death, right? I think a lot of skills will still target Kimi, like, will not target the, like, it's not like, let's say you get into a grab, right? The teleportation would be the one that save you, not the clone. The clone would just be there and just explodes, kind of. Like, it doesn't, the clone doesn't really matter. Like, the clone is not the one that saves you. It is more of the 5-second get out of jail free teleportation. Which, again, a lot of units now has this kind of skill. A lot of parts can even do something similar to this. So, you will still need a pilot that is as strong as Byron to keep this unit alive, or else this one teleport alone is not gonna save it, especially when, you know, its ability doesn't really give it any, you know, sort of sort of, how do you say it, defensive abilities to survive. So yeah, kind of lacking in survivabilities, which I don't know. It's fine because if it dies, it can still have the aura debuff for the enemies, but it is still, you know, not ideal when you compare to other units in the game. So yeah. And now for the weaponry, nothing much too special. Damage actually came from all of this, or damage can come from all of this. Now the missile, I think, is the one that does the most damage, and is more homing as well. So this is a unit where you probably will want 8-star because you want to unlock the, you know, the weapon as well. So yeah, I think you should definitely so yeah, I guess like this unit, yeah, you want 8-star for the full potential because the missile is a good part of the DPS as well. So yeah. But otherwise, this weapon is nothing too special. Well, it is a bit special because it's 4-star fist. 4-star fist in 2024 is insane. The last 4-star fist we have is what? Is welcome Nid, welcome. The last 4-star fist we technically have is with Ritter, which is not good in PvP at all. Now, fist melee, like, why is it such a big deal to have a 5-star fist melee? Because having a 5-star fist melee means you can have the parts that is the super robot fist, which if you want to damage over 0's threshold, you kind of want this if you have a 5-star fist, because I don't know, you know, what else can you really put in, right? And this will only work if you have a 5-star fist, and it's pretty important for you know, for Kimi, but for some reason they have 4-star fist. Maybe the dev think it might get too strong because they already gave us a very strong one that is Leviathan, but like it's kind of weird. Like, why give us a weaker version of Leviathan, right? I don't understand. Like, Leviathan can use this, but not Kimi, which is a mecha that come out a month after Leviathan. It kind of doesn't make any sense. The only other option, if you want to use it, is to use Hyper Beam Sword or something in order to do enough damage to go over you know, 0's threshold, which is kind of what you kind of need to do as a range in it. Is to, you know, do damage, right? End the battle faster before the enemy ends you, right? So yeah, kind of disappointing. It doesn't really have any, like, it doesn't have much melee, and if you want to, yeah, there's no reason to put claws on it, so it's just kind of stupid, I guess. Like, I get it if there's fist, then pretty much all of his attack are doubling damage essentially, because, you know, most of his attack are XO and ults, but still, you know, 4-star fist in 2024 is kind of crazy. Hopefully the last one, and, you know, if you guys want to see a more pathetic one, even Lilith with his little paw have 5-star fist makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, you can go into some like unit that shouldn't have a strong fist. Well, there's a 3-star fist here. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, never mind. There's a 3-star fist here. Yeah, never mind. I was wrong. I thought it was. Oh no. I was right because it was Whis. Yeah. Whis was the one that has the last one, which is before, BUS. So yeah, kind of pathetic. Why 4-star fist? If it had 5-star fist, it might actually be a very good unit, or it might be even more usable. But now it's just kind of usable, sort of. And now for its unique ability. Now, the first thing you might see is that it have very little amount of unique ability, but due to the pilot that you'll be putting this unit into, that's a good thing, because you will not be using any action that is bad. You'll only be spamming XO and ults, which is usually better. Like, you'll only be spamming this one. You'll only be spamming this one. You know, the big moves, which is pretty good. And its move that is not an XO is all dodges that also shoot enemy, you know, while they're doing it, which is also pretty good. Yeah, like that are dodges. Hold on, I need to put on dodges. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, see, like, all the thing has shoot an attack. So it actually, so even though it doesn't have as much, actions, which is usually a bad thing, it is actually technically good because you're putting it with Byron or even Hongwu or something like that, and you will want those pilots to be spamming good move only. A lot of time your Hongwu or your Byron dies because your Hongwu and Byron are not spamming the good actions; they are spamming the bad actions. And Kimi only having good actions can help with that. If you're not using any, if you're not using Byron or Hongwu, then this can be then this can be a problem. Yeah, this can be a problem. So, well, again, it depends on where you are at the moment, right? Like if you put this unit on, say, what's it called, Mamie Awaken or some other range DPS units, right? Then yeah, I can probably one shot people in rank 500 or something. But in a top ranking, in a top ranking, I'm not too sure about that. I don't think this can even survive a tick from 0 without Byron. So yeah, pretty sad. But yeah, so that should be the Kimi's explanation. Let's go into its builds. Now I'm on my alt for this one because I don't have it on my main. So this is kind of the build that you wanted to go for. Just usual CD build, the maximum amount of CD decrease, which is this one. You don't need to have the purple one because the purple one you don't have melee. So yeah, well, I think it might have, but it's not consistent enough to use that. So I just use the maximum amount of CD, and of course co-pilot as well. Co-pilot just CD as well. If you have G-Stone. If you don't have G-Stone, like if you miss Gaugaigar collab, then something that can benefit the team, like for example, the stealth one, love, love if you want to use it, if you want to use some other, supportive skills or something like that, that can work as well. But I am using G-Stone because I want this unit to be doing stuff, right? And now for the bullet is the one that is the only one that I think can have a lot of different things you want to use. Personally, I will probably use, if I'm not fighting against 0, I'll probably use Ether Shell just so you can ignore a lot of the defense potentially. But if you depending on your builds, right, you can obviously, if you have this unit as A star, then obviously you can use drones. If you have some other ones, right, like some other, I don't know, builds. If only you have 5-star Fist, then it could have been doing good damage with this, but because it doesn't have it, then it's big sad. But yeah, so I'll probably just go around with Ether Shell or the drones, or if you want to, or if you can, or if you're fighting 0 exclusively, then you can probably use something like what's called the Hyper Beam Shell, which is this one, the Hyper Beam Shell, which I'm pretty sure some people just have it. It is pretty outdated. It is outdated in PvE because everyone uses Bisector now. But yeah, if you still have your Hyper Beam, they can probably put that on as well. But I'm leaving this blank because this is more up to what you're fighting against. So yeah. And now for the support obviously just batteries is the best one at the moment. If you don't have batteries, then use Emergency Detach. If you don't have Emergency Detach, then that can be a problem. So you probably want to get emergency detach or the batteries, preferably the batteries now. If you don't have it though, actually, then probably just something more offensive, like for something like increase missiles, reload speed, attack, whatever, right? That can definitely work as well. But if you're using this in high level PvP, then you definitely want to use one of these two, especially for range mecha, right? And then for the armor from steel, obviously there's no reason to not use it. And for the coating, I'll actually use what's called the aggro, because even though Byron can spam, Byron's job right now is to carry a range, and you don't want enemy to target you. You want Byron's thing to trigger via collateral damages, like something like an AoE that accidentally triggers Byron instead of some enemy going for Kimi, which if they do, then your Kimi, even with Byron on, might not survive that easily. So yeah, Diagro is the one that I will go for. If you want to go for something else, you can probably go for it, but again, Diagro, something with a Diagro, I think is, in my opinion, the better options. Now for the pets, I will probably go for Scorpion, because Scorpion can just give more CCs and more damage to a range unit. So I don't think I will be using anything else. You can obviously, like, if you want to, you can definitely use something like even Pisces or even some other, or you know, like this one, the one that make the enemy go spin. If you have this, or just some other ones, like some free-to-play ones, if you want to use them, something that deal with either missiles or beam main armament weapons, which you can see their weapon type here, in English actually as well, and that can work as well, or just something that is just more range based in general, that can work as well, or just pure damage, so you can damage more zero hopefully, which yeah. But yeah, Scorpion I think is always the best, usually for most, you know, range units, just for more CC, because you know, as a range unit you don't really have a grab, right? You don't really have any strong CC abilities, and Kimi really doesn't have any CC abilities as well. Like he applies acid, which is not exactly a CC. So, but yeah, and now for combat again, I talked about before. I'm just making, you know, Kimi just spam as much action as possible. So I'll just go for CDs. But again, you know, depending on what you have, or depending on what you have, you can go for something supportive for your team or something like that, which can be better in most cases, I think. This is more of a selfish build for Kimi alone, right? So, yeah. The best build would have to, depending on your rank and depending on your, you know, your team setup, because, you know, builds work for top level might not work in your level, because, you know, why do this when you can just kill all the enemy instantly, right? So that should be the build for Kimi, and Kimi is not really useful in PvE, sadly, because it really doesn't have anything to offer. Like, your boss is like, yeah, there's nothing to offer for from Kimi in PvE. So, and yeah, so this is PvP build. So, and now I should go to my main account on NC. So give me 1 second, right? Also, look at my rank, you know, on my ult, 420. I purposely get it to that because I want to keep the 69 on my main. So yeah, hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah, like my main right now is 97, but I would want to get it to 69 one day. So also, this is a new collab palette. It's pretty awesome, or the skin of it. What else? Okay, so let's get this now. Let's go to yeah, there you go. Alright, yeah, now I'm getting to it. Yeah, now I am getting to it. So Takemikazuchi, I got a lot of questions on this unit, because this unit does really look extremely well made, and I really like it as well. But sadly, it is good, but it is not a necessity. Like, if you know what unit coming in the future, there's little reasons to get this unit when you can just save for, you know, you can save for anything else in the future, right? Lucifer will have a longer lifetime than this unit, or if you want to wait even longer, right, about like 2 or 3 months ish, then you can get Xiansheng, that I think comes along with Qitian Awakens or Qitian Retrofit, which is those two are some heavy hitting metas units, which at that point this unit will be gone, you know, like, or it wouldn't be gone, but it would be not as useful as it would be. Like, it is not to a level of Kimi's uselessness. It is useful, but first of all, it will take up your home. It will take up your home, which is a pretty huge deal, because, you know, who else is going to pilot your Wolong? Who else is going to pilot your Lucifer? Who else is going to pilot your, you know, good unit that requires Wolong, right? You can put this unit on, you know, on something like Byron as well too, but it's not worth it. Like, Byron want to put, because the thing, this unit can do a lot of things by itself too. I don't know. It's a bit hard to just. It's mid. No. It's not mid. Mid is Kimi. This unit is like high tier but not top tier. But the problem is there's too much top tiers. Yeah, okay, so see, this unit is high tier, but there's too much top tiers that you can get much easily, or there's much more top tier that I can get is probably the best way I can put this, you know. So, well, anyway, let's get into it's not even, because the thing is, right, it doesn't really take the job of Lucifer, because it is just a high stats, how do you say, a high stats brawler that can do damage, can tank a little bit, you know, and that's kind of it. Like, if enemy is using chains, right, which a lot of people are using chains, so, you know, at that point, it's not gonna be doing CCs, but I guess it still can, like, because most people might not be using chains, and or you know, or any, yeah, I don't know, it's, oh no, there you go, you can use this unit to fight against Wolong. Yes, because this unit by default is immune to paralysis, so you can probably sneak in. So like, let's say if enemy Wolong is stunning the field, right? Then your Take will not be affected, and your Take can go and attack the enemy's Wolong, or attack, you know, despite all of your other allies are being stunned. It's probably the only good thing, or not only good thing, but in terms of like top meta, is what I can see people would roll this unit for, is so, you know, it can just be impervious to most of Wolong's and most of Odin's attack. Now Wolong does have, which I'll get into one talk about Wolong, is that Wolong does have things that is not paralysis, you know, is not paralysis, because like Wolong has something way scarier, but because majority of the thing he does is thunder, and it just being immune to that just save this unit a support slot for you to put the batteries or the emergency detach or something like that can make this unit even tankier, especially when all of your other units are probably running chains, especially now with Wolong metas. Or again, depending on your teams, depending on enemy team as well, right? If the enemy is not using any thunder units, then, you know, that chassis wouldn't really matter at that point. So you know, let's get into the chassis. Now, actually, it has 185 weight for a unit this slick, which is actually pretty good. Yeah, the heavier the better usually. So, gain immunity to paralysis and final damage received minus 36%, and times 2 final damage reduction when lightning is effect, which is the lightning producers. Now, pretty awesome, because it already, like, why would you, like, it already kind of put Kimi into shame. You know, Kimi only have 36%, I think, and this one just doubles, like, most of the time, because its cooldown is only about 3 seconds. So it, by default, it has like 36% plus times 36%, you know, final damage reduction, which is pretty huge. Now it's nothing it's not something that can like win you the game anymore, but it is something that is almost required to survive in this meta, which it already got. You know, Kimi doesn't have the time to, so Kimi will die pretty quickly with only 26%. So yeah, if it doesn't have the debuff chassis. So yeah, pretty good stats increase, pretty monstrous to be honest, but it is, you know, it's kind of funny that final damage plus minus 80% are not that crazy anymore into this meta somehow, but yeah, still good to have. Now, the unit possesses 6 lightning producers, probably the little thing on its back, right? And upon every damage received, activate one of it and generates lightning, and lasts for 2 seconds, cannot be reactivated. And every time all of the lightning producer is depleted, it will regenerate for 3 seconds. So, hold on, I'm gonna check in with NC text, because, you know, again, as you know, Ian might have some, you know, bad translations. Actually, yeah, so, yeah, just imagine you have, like, a little, yeah, just, no, is nothing too special, I think. Is mainly so that, in my opinion at least, it is mainly so that the minus 80, almost like 70%, 80% fan damage reduction isn't active like forever, because if it is active for forever, then depending on your rank, you might not have enough damage to really do much against Takemi. But just imagine you have kind of like 6 batteries, right? And every time it gets hit, it will use one, and that kind of just give some little attack around it, which will be pretty good against unit that is grabbing this unit, if this unit does get grabbed. But otherwise, it's nothing too special. It just kind of uses the batteries, and once you use it up, it will be temporarily, like, its defense will be reduced by about like half for about 3 seconds. Not like it is a debuff, but like it's 80% buff. You know, it's like almost 80% buff will be reduced to 36% for about 3 seconds. And honestly, this skill is really only good against units that is grabbing you, which if the enemy are using chains, will probably not matter that much. But if the enemy are not using chains, you can potentially stun the enemies and maybe help, your Takemi out. But it's nothing too special. I would say Kimi's chassis might even have more, something that is more special, which is the damage notification effect. This one is just kind of like a pure, defense increase, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, and of course the paralysis immunity. Now for the second chassis, final damage value plus 40% already beats Kimi. So Kimi only has what, 36%, I think. So final damage value plus 40%. Again, I'll talk about how the damage values work. If you guys want to know, just go back to any of my videos in the past. And now every time, now, what is he talking about? Okay, so every time, hold on, I need to. Okay, so yeah, so every time X ult does, hold on. I'm gonna use NC chat because NC. Okay, Ian have some extremely weird. Okay, it is weapons. Yeah, it is his weapon. Now, every time it uses its main weapon, like its sword weapons, like if you see the action is using its sword, every time it uses that, there's a 25% chance it will summon like what does Ian call it? Thunder. Yeah. Okay. God Thunder. It's kind of a little beacon there that will like shoots the thunder across different God Thunders, and of course, while the unit is alive, it will provide aura that grants final damage value dealt with EM attribute attack by 25%, which is again pretty good. Which kind of combines with its final damage value dealt, 40% plus 20%. That's almost 80%. Final damage increase. Again, this unit is a stat monsters. It's just 80% final, final defense, 80% final damage value increase. It's kind of crazy. A lot of, yeah. It's just like, I guess its skill being a little bit boring could be that it increases its stats by a lot, I guess. But the funny thing is, despite this, it couldn't, like, a lot of time it couldn't, hit over 0. But I don't know. But anyway, so the God Thunders. Now, again, if enemies are not using chains, then yeah, that can be pretty good CCs. But in today's meta, if enemy knows you're using, Take, then it is likely they'll be using chains, and at that point, it will just be like a little extra damage hindrance. Which again, if you're facing against 0, it will not even go over 0's defense most of the times. So yeah, I mean, it is good. Again, if you can catch someone not using chains, then this will be a pretty good skill. But otherwise, it is kind of just there, just being there, I guess. So, but yeah, and of course, it couldn't activate on every main attack. It will have to be something that come from its main sword. So. Also, I think I see in comments, I will talk about, questions or something after I finish talking about things. Now, so for the first weapon, it's being a sword melee, which is good, because, first weapon being sword melee can have a lot of different parts that can be used for it. Now, the parts for this unit are pretty easy, it's pretty easy to, like, determined, which I'll get into that. But yeah, now you also have Fist Melee 5-star, which is, you know, good. Again, now it can use Super Raw Fist, and it can use Claws, which is pretty good. Most units now have 5-star. Again, I don't know why Kimi won't have 4, but yeah. And then now we got and these are just, you know, your usual other stuff, which you can skip out on. So that Takemi can be usable at 7-star because you don't need the weapons. So yeah. And now for its unique abilities. Now, its abilities, maybe because they give this units too much stats, because, you know, 80% final damage increase, you know, like 80, you know, I would talk about 80% a lot. You know, the 80% on both defense and, you know, defense and attack maybe is a bit too strong. So a lot of its attack, right, like that, like, you know, that attack, as well as a lot of its stronger looking attacks, you might notice it doesn't have much CCs. Like, maybe because the staff think that, oh, the CC will be done by the the paralyzation. But paralyzation usually are not forced. Yeah, most of the time paralyzation are not forced. Even if there is, it's very little. Will usually be the final attack of an, you know, of certain moves, right? So maybe due to both it have insane stats as well as it have the EM effect, it doesn't have much ways of controlling enemies. Like, if enemy have chains, the EM chains, that make them immune to you know, EM effects, and they also have a counter grab, then it can give this unit a tough time, because there will be not any much option for this unit to do anything against a unit like that. So yeah, most of its like grabs are in its much smaller move. Like I think it's counter is a grab, if I'm correctly. Which one is counter? You gotta counter a Thunderbolt. Is this one a grab? Yeah, if you can, I think, yeah, actually no, I think I have 2 counters, and I think if those are the only 2 grabs, then that would be the funniest thing ever. It'll be such a reactive Mega. But again, I think it is sort of fair, because, you know, again, if enemy doesn't have chains, then I think that makes sense, because actually, I don't think that's a grab, but that looks pretty good though. It's pretty quick. Don't think. Yeah. That one should be like a pseudo grab, like a pseudo CC grab or something like that. So yeah, again, most of his force grab are in small moves, which again is not that ideal. But again, it depends on your the team. Yeah. It depends on the team that you're fighting against. If you're fighting against a team without any chains, which again, I talk about chains a lot, but I'm gonna show you. In case of people doesn't know, right? In case of people doesn't know, chains is this thing right here. Yeah, grounding chain, immune to paralysis. You know, paralysis status condition, and also minus 71%. You know, EM damage. So like, if you're fighting against anyone with, I mean, it is a 4 Thunder units, like if you're fighting anyone with chain, most unit will kind of suffer. But the thing is, right, the different thing is between this unit and Wolong Thunder is that Wolong does not like require EM to do CCs, while Take kind of relies on the Thunder to do CCs in order to hit enemies, right? Yeah. So I think that should cover up this unit a lot. This unit has a lot of, like, the benefit, like the plus of this units are, how do you say, are just as, like, it's just as I couldn't find the words. Like, it's just as like stand out as its weaknesses, right? On one hand, you have incredible stats, but on the other hand, maybe to balance is maybe to balance is that they don't give some of the important things a model units might need in order for them to do good. Now there's something that is more technical for this unit, like for example, it does do about 62% collision damage, which will be pretty good on 0, which that kind of just going by the, I don't know, that is a little bit more complicated, which even I don't really know how that exactly works. But just know some kind of attacks will apply percentage damage to the enemies, and even when this unit are not doing damage to say 0, like couldn't break through the threshold, it can still do a good amount of percentage damage, a good amount of collision damage to the enemies, if it can be, if the enemy are there for you to hit. Which again, if enemy have chains, then it can be a problematic thing. So, so that should be able to cover how this unit works. Again, this is a unit that is good, but again, I'm not really sure if it's worth to roll this unit. So yeah. And now let's get into the builds. And while we get into the builds, let's talk about. Let me see if there's anything in the gravity. Okay. Can Link Kobayasu Impair work against that meta? Yeah. Anything that anti-paralysis parts can probably do a lot of things to Takemi. So, yeah. It's good unit for especially Senora things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's more. Yeah. It's a good mech. Like those are good pilots to be against Takemi because again, anything that can anti-paralysis can give this unit a hard time. Like if they're paralyzed, like if they couldn't be paralyzed, then it would just be up to brute force for Takemi, which Takemi does have the brute force to deal with that. But again, look, there is some stupid stuff in EM meta. Like just look at my team at the moment, right? Let me see. Just look at my team at the moment. See, look. Let's say Takemi is fighting against Leviathan. Like Leviathan have chains on, right? Leviathan have chains on. Takemi try to do anything to Leviathan, that's barely gonna move, and is gonna and that's gonna trigger balance ability, and the Leviathan will activate its tsunami, and that might be the end for Takemi because it's like yeah, and that goes for most units here as well. Like it attacks 0, and 0 have chains on. Like for example, right now, see, like 0 have chains on, and then 0 grabs Takemi, and Takemi is probably dead at that point. But again, if 0 don't have chains on, right? If 0 don't have chains on, then 0 is gonna get stunned forever until it dies. So yeah, it's like it's like one part, or it's like one part and one skill that, for example, like a full immune EM can do a lot of things into this meta, especially with a unit rely this much on EM, right? So like yeah. Too reactable for the enemies to do with it. But still, though, it's a good unit. If you want to roll this unit, right, I think you can. Like, if you like the design of this unit, right? Like, for example, I love this unit a lot. I rolled this unit, I never regretted it because it just looks very, very good. And like, no one is gonna run. Like, let's say everyone you meet online is using chains, right? No one is gonna be using full chains in Apex. No one's gonna be using full chains in Zenith, right? You can still be using this unit in those arenas, and that would be pretty fine. And if really nothing, you can use this unit on Abyss that requires thunder or something like that, right? That can work too. So if you want to roll this unit and you roll it, it have its uses. So you can probably just if you want this unit, I think you should get it. So as long you know what's coming, right? As long as you know that, hey, Lucifer is gonna be much more versatile. as long as you know, Shenseng and Qitian Retrofit is gonna shake the meta, and as long as you know, Yuehua is gonna destroy everything on the field, or like any of his targets. So as long as you know about this and you still want to roll this unit and you roll it should be fine, I think. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've been using it as well. Like I've been using it in my Zenith. I don't want to take it out because it's just really cool. Like, if enemy doesn't have chains, right? If you are fighting enemy that don't have chains, it can really screw with enemies. Like right now I have, see, I have it on my third defense team, and it's doing pretty good. Same thing here. I'm using it as offensive as well, like here, right? No one is gonna be using 4 chains. So if enemy are not using 4 chains, then free game for any attack from Takemi. If they don't have chains, can probably stop them from moving. So Leviathan is just stupid. Leviathan is just okay. Another thing about Takemi though is probably the downside is that it needs, or it wants, in the top level, it wants Home Awaken for it to spam as much action as possible, right? Just the usual stuff, right? But then you're kind of, trading, like, you only have one Hongu, right? Maybe you want to put it on a unit that needs Hongu better, right? Takemi is in a tough spot where it doesn't need Hongu that much. It just kind of performs the best with Hongu, which kind of goes with most other mecha, right? I mean, you can put it on Byron, you can put it on some other units, but you kind of, Hongu is still the ideal units for for the pilots. So yeah, of course you do never use some other meta units in as well. It's not really picky about pilots actually, so I guess that's a plus as well. So yeah. And we're talking in a team setting. Kagut is rank you are in, right? Like if you're in, let's say if you're in like top 300, right? I can see that working. Like if enemy are not using chains and your Takemi is stunning everyone on the field, and it is free food for the Kaguzuchi to kill the enemies. So yeah, if again that it will some of the teams I know will really require you to know what you're fighting against, right? Like if you see the enemy are moving amidst of all the thunders that the Takemi is doing, then Takemi itself, like using Takemi itself against that team in particular would be a bad choice, because Takemi wouldn't be doing too much. Like it would just be sneaking in some damage in whenever they're not in iframe. So okay, look, okay, just see, like you can see it, like you can really see it. Just replay, right? Because Takemi's has, look, if the enemies are okay, yeah, you should be like, I know on the map there is a lot of things going on a lot, but but that is a good point. If you see, like you can still see the enemy's health bar, and if you see enemies are moving over all of the thunders, then you can probably tell that they have some kind of anti-stun on, like chain or something like that on. If they are not using it, you can see them physically stop for a little bit before able to move again. So yeah, just replay and check and see if you're using anything, or see if the enemy are using anything. So yeah. But yeah, Kaguzuchi, in terms of top PvP, is not meta anymore. It's probably best to use it with some other, like, let's say use it with Odin or some other Thunder teams, right? That can work well with the Thunder aura, because this unit does have a 25% final damage increase for for all the enemies, or for all the allies that does EMs, right? So or for all EM attacks. So, which is pretty good. And now for the I will use this one because just so it can do more damage. Yeah, if you don't have this one, you can just use hydraulics. And I don't think there's any like you definitely want to spam action for what's called for this unit. And then now for the bullet. This is the part where again depends on the team again. Like if the enemy are using chains, then I go for fist. If the enemy are not using chains, then I'm using the thunder. So yeah, it's kind of like this is another depending on your enemy type situations, right? If you know the enemy are using chains, then you want to use claws. Or let's say if you have Byron on it, right? Well, you don't need to care about. Oh, if you're using Byron, you probably want to use claw anymore or claw even more. But let's say if you're using a unit that doesn't require longer range melee or something like that, you can probably use this one as well. That works too. And if you know the enemy are not using chains, then this one just the go-to. It's just freeload at that point. Like you don't even need Wolong Thunder to cast thunder upon all enemies. The amount of attack that it does, the amount of action it spams combined with the almost 40% chance of casting like a thunder chains will be pretty strong against any team that doesn't have chains. So yeah, again, I'm talking about chains so much, but chains really matters a lot in this meta. So and this can tie into Takemi, where Takemi doesn't need chains. So it's kind of like it's like it entities itself, kind of like it entities the meta itself. It literally entities itself, I guess. So, and because it doesn't need chains, you can use batteries, and if you don't have batteries, you can use emergency detach, which batteries is always better. But if you don't have it, of course you can use this one. If you don't have it, you can use Chassis Advisor, because it is a melee after all, right? So yeah, but I'm putting the batteries on just because batteries. So and now for the armor, just firm seal, pretty not much other options. Now for the coating just depends on what you have too as well. Like, or depending on what you have, that would be the best, I guess. You can go for the S coat if you have it. You can go for liquid armor if you have it. You can go for tilted armor, which will never go wrong. So you can go with this as well. And yeah, and let's say if you're you can even put on like the aggro if you are like actually no, because Takemi can tank, so yeah, probably not the aggro. You probably want Takemi to also take some fire off of of your allies as well. So yeah, never mind. So just usual, tilted armor, liquid armor, S code, and in the future, if you're still using this unit, you can probably use the Gaia code, when it comes to EN as well, or just some other good one. If you don't have any of those, you can probably use like quantum armor, whatever armor, or if you're using a pilot that requires active skill, you can even use bio code, so that can work as well. But I'm putting S code just because. Safer if you're fighting against, like if you somehow fight against, say, the assassin girl, the Tao somehow or something like that. And of course there's a lot of mixed type damage in the game now, so yeah, this can also be a good damage reduction. And now for the pets I would just go for Scorpion, just because Scorpion actually go through immunity. So let's say enemy have chains, right? Then as long as you can get more hits onto enemies, then eventually you'll get stunned because of Scorpion. So it's kind of like it's kind of like if the enemy does have chains, right? Then this will just be extra damage and extra stuns. If enemy does have chains, then this is your only real consistent way of doing CCs. But this consistent way is not even consistent, because like you will have to like hit enemies while they're all doing their own stuff, because they're not stunned. So, but at least there's a chance for them to be stunned and for them to eat a whole blow from Takemi's action or something like that. So yeah. And then for the corporate scale, again, this depends heavily on your pilot and of course your enemy's team as well, right? I go for Juice Stone because Juice Stone is usually the better for like an action spamming build. And then if you don't have this one, you can obviously go for something that benefit team, like Love, like Lolo's co-pilot skill, or some other pilot skill that can help the team out, or just some other CC's effects. Like there's some, just the usual stuff, I guess. The usual, like let's say after you finish building a team, you need to put this co-pilot skill somewhere, but you don't have a pilot to put it on. Then you can put it on this unit. It doesn't really hurt, it doesn't really hurt Takemi that much. Yeah, it's not a picky about builds. So, but because I'm using Byron and I'm going for a CD build, this is what I'll go for. Just Juice Stone and the Jesus Christ, Juice Stone and the purple joint. So, all right. So this should be the build for Takemi. Hold on. Should we change armor and coding depending on whether you're fighting more ranged or melee units? I think this covers all, because Firm Steel is just there to prevent, like, how do you say it? Firm Steel now is not really like to protect you. It's just a safety for you to like not be one-shotted even quicker. Like with Firm Steel, you probably die in 2 seconds. Without Firm Steel, you probably die in 1 second. It's kind of like that, right? That is kind of the difference. And to prevent you from dying from some stray bullets or something like that. This is more Firm Steel here for. And for coding, yeah, mixed type bit, because mixed type damage come from a lot of things. It can be melee attack, it can be range attack. It's more like over encompassing. But if you have Firm Steel, like let's say if you're using a pilot with Firm Steel, right? Let's say if you're using Elaine, right? Let's say if you're using Elaine. Where's Elaine? Wherever Elaine is. Hold on. Let's say if you're using Elaine, right? Let's say you're using Elaine here, right? And then you already have Firm Steel, because Elaine already have Firm Steel, which I still use Firm Steel on it. Then yeah, like if you're fighting against a lot of melee units, then you can put on tuning fork, so you can like screw with the range units. And let's say if you're not using against, and let's say if you're not fighting against what's it called, melee units, you can obviously go for something that is called the Hymu armor, which is this one. You can go for this one if I have come out with Ian yet. If the enemy are using pretty range heavy units. So yeah, you're kind of right. But again, your unit should have a Firm Shield somewhere already, to be the best effects. So. And now, actually, hold on. Yeah, I haven't covered everything about Takemi yet, because Takemi is actually usable in PvE as well, which is actually, if you're running Takemi, this is another good thing, is that due to the enormous stats it have, you can use it as a DPS in PvE. Now, it's not the best, like, it's far from the best, right? It's far from, Kaguzuchi's crazy amount of infinite damage increase, but it still have its good amount, like almost 80% final damage value increase, so that is pretty scary to the boss. And you also have a lot of actions for it to be pretty strong when pair with Majin Core. And the build are just your usual build, your usual DPS build, like this one, of course, just a fist. Of course, you can use a green fist for less gold. They do the same thing. And for the coding, you want to go for this, and for this one, you want to go for Baihu Coat. Again, depending on how much active skill matters. And now for the thing, you want to go for something like Flaming Rabbit, just for reduce the cooldown. Of course, you can still use Scorpion or some other things. And of course, for the this also depending on your on what you have, right? For example, I will use the Lucifer's pilot that can fasten, you know, the actions. So yeah, something like this is your usual PvE build. Oh, nice, congrats, wow. That's 20 roll for 2? That's insane, yeah, pretty awesome. So yeah, if you're using, if you want to use, or let's say if you don't have any DPS, right, and you like this unit, maybe you can try to get this unit actually. Now, Jesus Christ. Now, like, because how do you say, like, it's useful, but when you're using it in PvE, just know that it is not the best, right? Like, if you're not doing as much score as, you know, as some other people that you know, just know that obviously it's not the best. Like, it is like top tier, like, or that is high tier again, but you know, because Kagezuchi exists in PvE, so it couldn't, you know, like, not many units can take the throne for the blue flame mecha. So. But and you can only really do DPS as like in PvE. I don't think you can really do any other roles, so I'll just, you know, stick it with PvE. So, or stick it as a DPS if you want to use it in PvE. And of course, you don't necessarily need to use Linda on it. If your Linda is on some other DPS, and if you want to build a 2 DPS team, which not many teams are PvE or are double DPS now. Most are single DPS, but if you want to go for a double DPS, or if you just don't have Linda or something, and Eating Awaken with something like this, and you know, or something that attack, like something with a where's perfectionism, the one that increase fire damage increase. Wait, what is it? Or not that one. I mean, yeah, something like this one, or you can go for Greta's one as well. That can definitely work as well. So yeah, something like this can also work too. Just make sure you're for the units if you want to use like those skills. Alright, so that should be it about Takemi. So yeah. Wait. Oh, you're not 5-pack. Probably Scorpion. Or if you don't have Scorpion, and if you don't have Scorpion, probably at most, or what's it called? If you already have 2 Scorpion, then I don't think you need one more. So even if you only have one, might be better to just not have that much. Or I mean, Scorpion's good, but what I'm trying to say is, if you don't have Scorpions, right? You can still use this one. I don't know, I forgot his English name, but this pet right here, just 10% fire damage increase for nearby enemies. Doesn't allow me to make us like a that banner good stuff. Yeah, good. Yeah. I'm kind of glad they start like putting event, like almost they're usually almost an event, and most of the events can give you a lot of good stuff. So yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, breaking down. Yeah, nice. I hope they make a new Retrofit for Breaking Dawn. It's probably one of the most iconic mech in Iron Saga. So yeah, that should be about this one. So now finally we're talking about Scorpion. How to get more than 1 Scorpion? Okay, if you only have 1 Scorpion, then you can get it by using Starlight Badge, which is a paid badge. So yeah, I definitely. Hold on. It's usually a badge that you get from like purchasing bundles. So I really wouldn't recommend it, and usually it's quite expensive. So I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that. Just use Benson. Yeah, 1 Scorpion in PvE is enough. Now in PvP, sometimes you don't even like. There's already there are already a lot of pets that can, you know. Yeah. they're already mic test, mic test. So there are already a lot of pets that can work in PvE, so you don't need like 2 scorpions. Maybe in the past, but not now anymore. Alright. So, yeah, just use Benson. Yeah. Just use Benson. Should work. Is Mike still dead? Hold on. Let me see. Let me hear myself real quick. Okay, seems like fine. Okay. Alright, so now let's get into Wolong. Wolong, both Wolong. I'll be going over both today. Now, I did a video on both Wolong, on how I thought about it, and I'm pretty sure most people already know how scary it is. So let's go into Retrofit. Now, Wolong, I actually don't need to talk about Wolong that much, because there's only a few changes that really makes it like very strong. Of course, there's all minor changes, minor buffs that wouldn't get into too much details, but yeah. Let's go over both, yeah. Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's go over the Thunder one first. Actually, I don't know, yeah. Hold on. I'll talk about the Fire one real quick. So, Fire one. Now, the Thunder one does a lot of CCs. That was the reason why it is so strong. The Fire one, although it doesn't do CCs, and some people might think it is useless, which, if you're talking about, if you're talking to someone, that is in top PvP, obviously they will say that, oh, the Fire one is useless, but it does damage. You can damage 0 with it, actually. There's a set damage that's like, what, 1200 damage? So you can damage 0 with it if you want to use it against that. But the thing is, most people only have 1 Wolong, and between 1 Wolong, you kind of would just use, you kind of just use another one. However, and it's not worth it to get another one. It is not worth it to get another Wolong when other units that become in future does a better job at killing 0 than the red than the Fire Wolong. So Wolong kind of in a bad spot here. Just kind of it's not really useful in anything, I guess. Or it's usable depending on what you want. Is usable on the thing that you want to use it on, but there's usually better options or more convenient options for you to do. Where you don't need to roll another, Wolong. You don't need to, let's even use this in PvE, right? You don't need to get into the full Wolong in PvE when you can just use Whis, for the damage increase. Now, the damage increase does stack, but in the meta team setup, it might not be the best option. It's not worth for Wolong to be on. You would require you to funnel probably Bahamut, Hraesvalgr, probably 3 or 4 units in order for you to use, Wolong, fire for to be useful in PvE. And by that time, it's probably 20 seconds, and at the minimum, 20 seconds has been passed. So yeah, definitely, it is a good unit. It just, because CCs are so important into this meta, something that does pure damage just kind of is neglected, I guess. So if it only has if he only has the amount of firepower, the amount of burst firepower as something like Leviathan, even, then I can see it being top tier. But because it kind of just a slightly higher damage, not even slightly, a higher damage version of the Thunder one minus the CC effects, that kind of just a little bit of a turn off. And yeah, I'll get into builds when I talk about the Thunder one. Now for the Thunder one, Thunder one is, wow, this unit has been nightmare for zeros for so many units. It can just I don't know, so first of all, its chassis not barely anything changed. You got the revive still, you got the dagger cell, the active skill increase, some stats here and there is maxed, but it's nothing too meaningful, right? Weapon as well, nothing too meaningful, but its actions though, its actions are the one that really just put it into the put a fear of Wolong into everyone. First of all, it's thunder, right? If enemy are not using chains, then good luck moving, right? Good luck moving, especially in something like this. Good luck moving in a literal entire stage perilous EM effect, right? Imagine moving in that kind of place. It's not gonna happen if you don't have chains, right? The only and you also actually do a good amount of damage. It's not like fire's damage, but still do a good amount of damage. And of course, a lot of its move or some of its move got stealth now, so it can much easier, that can survive much easily. Because it will constantly be taking its aggro off of him, especially when the pilot that you were piloting on are Hongwu. So you sometimes can really keep your good thing there is Hongwu, and the good thing there's Hongwu, for it to first of all be able to spam a lot of these moves that they're looking at right now. Those scary moves that can just stun lock the entire team if they don't have EMs. And you can also survive, especially with Hongwu on it, while having these stealth mechanics to take the aggro off of him. So yeah, survivability, set, damage, all right. God tier CCs there, and here you go, a mecha that kind of dominated like meta for the past 6 months or so. Even now it's being used because it's like a rock paper scissors, where if you're using Wolong, then you kind of forces enemy to use chains. It's kind of like if you're using Takemi, and if you don't have easier time to fighting against Takemi, then you want to use chains. But the thing is, if you're using chains, then you're gonna be more vulnerable to enemies, other units that can do some AoE huge DPS, like something like Yuehua, something like other some other DPS on a team, right? So it's like a game of, I don't know, it's not it's not chess. It's just seeing sacrificing something for, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like forcing enemy to use chains. Therefore, the enemy will be weaker because they don't have the batteries on. Kind of like that, right? It's kind of like a tool for enemy to not use. It's not exactly, but it is something you can use it as something like that, right? Where you're forcing enemy to run chains, therefore the enemy will be less tankier than your units. So your enemies your allies can dish out more damage onto the enemies, even though those enemies are not being stunned as often, which they will still be stunned on a certain move of Wolong. So that move that I'm talking about is this one. Exactly this one. So this one, it might look like it is only EM, but it actually make all the enemies lose control. Now, losing control is something that is negatable as well, but in order to negate control and EM, both of them, that is very you can do that. I can definitely do that with the help of co-pilot skills as well as parts. But at that point, you're losing. At that point, you're sacrificing a co-pilot slot probably. You're sacrificing a support slot, obviously. So by sacrificing both slots to counter against that move, it's not that worth it, I think. Or it's you can move in here, right? But you're also weak as heck. You're also not as tanky as how you used to be, and you're gonna get one shot by enemies, Leviathan, Yuehua, some other units like that, or Zeros, right? Zero can just put quick work of you. So yeah, it's such a disgusting move where it applies two kind of stuns. One is the EM stun, and if you can be immune to that, are you immune to lost control? And if you're immune to lost control, are you immune to EM, right? And if you're immune to both, then you are weak, kind of. So it's kind of so most people just use chains because it doesn't throw out that Thunder Cloud that often. Like it's only once in a while, right? Well, unless see, look, this is the reason why people use Hongwu with what's called with Wolong, because if Hongwu can spam that cloud over and over and over, and the enemy doesn't have units that can be immune to both or something, usually the enemy is not able to be immune to both. So when this happens, 9 out of 10, the enemy entire stage, the entirety of the enemy's team cannot move. So if you can spam that, then your enemy just couldn't move forever, essentially. So yeah, and maybe there's a reason why, or maybe there's another reason. Takemi can be used, or can be another, can be even more of a counter, or it's not even a counter because it's not like it can get through the other 3 units to get to to get to your Wolong, right? But one good thing I guess about Takemi is you're immune to the stun already, so maybe you can use the support or combat skill for anti loss of control, so you can still have a space for battery or have a really strong combat skill. But yeah, discussing Mecha, it's like a frame trap. It's like you're either stunned or you're either stunned, kind of. I don't know. So that's the reason why, or that's the main reason why Wolong is so Wolong, this move alone, that's the reason why Wolong is so strong. In fact, his other moves are probably hindrance, because most of the moves are, aside from the big orb, which kind of force grab the enemies from the range, which is pretty scary, but because it's only a single target, it is not as oppressive. And his other units kind of just there to just do some damage, do some annoyance. If enemy have chains, then they're fine, but not when they use something like those clouds. So yeah. Yeah, pretty scary, I guess. So I think I covered everything about Wolong. It's nothing to talk about now. There's some minor changes, of course, right? There's some minor changes here and there. Of course, the Rev HP is higher and stuff like that, but I don't think those are that important. Just know that what I talked about is the reason why Wolong are so OP, or are the main reason why. Yeah, the main reason why Wolong are OP. The stealth to take his to take the aggro off, the almost guaranteed stun, and if not stunned, enemy are weak. Kind of like gameplay, sort of. So yeah. So if you ever wonder why Wolong is still being used in PvP meta today, even in NC, is because of that. So that should be it about Wolong, and you can also kind of see why fire is not really thought after, right? The whole stick of Wolong is why Wolong Thunder is so strong. It's because of the insane CCs. If you strip that, then it kind of just become like a AoE DPSer kind of, which is not what's it called? Not really worth it. So yeah. So I think that should cover how Wolong works, and I guess we go into the builds now. I think this EV's builds, right? Yeah, this EV's builds. Now, this area work again depending on your exactly rock versus game, yeah. So yeah, exactly, yeah. Now for the so this is EV's build. I definitely agree with this, but here's my build. I think it's pretty similar, actually. The only thing that's different is I am using this one instead, because if I can catch anyone without using, if I catch anyone that is not using chains, then they're kind of screwed, because now they're gonna be stunned for 50% more, like 50% longer, which will usually be the death sentence for enemy that don't have chains, and you will be surprised how many people are not running chains, right? So yeah, this reason why I'm using this one. Of course, you can use other ones, right? Like the ones that they use. You can even use, ether, probably ether, because I think this unit has more mixed damage instead of range damage. So, but yeah, actually, there's a pretty limited amount of. Hold on 1 second. Actually, yeah, there's a pretty limited amount of shells that can use on it. I personally wouldn't use the super tech shell because I don't think that matters that much. So yeah, just more CCs, or if you want to debuff enemy, you can probably use something like the. I don't have that parts. Hold on. I can probably use something like where is it? Probably use something like where is it? Super shell? Whatever that thing is called. Hold on. Where is it? Here you go. S, yeah. And you can use this to debuff enemies, stats, which can be a good deal. Which can be a good deal, in PvP as well, because lowering stats can lower their chances to dodges actually. So. And it's pretty standard, just your action build. You want to spam action. There's no not many other way to build this. Just action. Like it's the point of the mecha. So spam actions, and there's a reason why you pretty much only see Hongwu on it. Like not even Byron. Byron had to get hit, and Hongwu can just keep going. Hongwu can just keep on going, and make enemy not be able to move. So yeah. And we got what's it called? Yeah. Yeah. Batteries, pretty standard. Firm steel, pretty standard. And we got, what's it called? The aggro, pretty standard. Just, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, because it's just, yeah, pretty standard. Because I couldn't really found any other. Well, for the thing, or was it for the support, you can probably use emergency detach as well if you don't have the batteries. But yeah, I'm using battery just because I don't really want my Hongwu to get or my Wolong to, I guess, emergency detach for it to have sometimes not attempting to stun enemies. So that's why I'm using more of the batteries. But if you don't have batteries, you can obviously use emergency detach, which may even work better in most of the time. So yeah, and then yeah, we got firm steel. No reason to change that. You got the aggro, and then now for the pets. Now pets, I use Scorpion because it can cover so much of the field and can apply a lot of the debuff on enemy, and it's more stun if enemy, like let's say if enemy have chains, then Scorpion can eventually make them get stunned because the stun immunes because the effect are immune to the stun. So, and yeah, other pets they can obviously use other pets as well, because it's not really picky, because I don't know, it's not really picky on well, I guess it is picky, but like you can use a strong pet on this unit, and it should work. Like for example, Scorpion works. You can also use this one, the one that make a target into like a Lilith like effect. You can even use Pisces, because you'll be scraping a lot of damage for Pisces to activate in order to get a little shield that can protect you from something, right? And you can obviously probably not Cancer, because Cancer is probably more of a melee unit. I mean, probably not exclusive to melee, but it's probably not needed on Hongwu or on Wolong. So just Scorpion, Pisces. If you're free to play, there's other options as well. Like let me see. Probably yeah. You probably use this unit, yeah. If you're free to play, or just some other or just some of the dodges. But yeah, but preferably either Pisces, Scorpion, this one or some other PvP mecha that you got, like let's say even the sheep if you want, so something like that. But yeah, and now for Cobalt Seal, Juice Stone. If you have Juice Stone, preferably use Juice Stone because I'm going for, you usually want to go full action for Wolong. There's no really in between for that. So yeah, I'll go with Juice Stone. But again, if you don't have Juice Stone, obviously you can use some other, like some other supportive skill for your team, right? And that can benefit your team better than, and something it might be better to do that way as well. And then another thing I'm talking about for the new parts. Now, this new part definitely works on Wolong, but personally, CC is more important than damage, and this new part doesn't give as much action cooldown than hydraulics, so I will still use hydraulics. So, but yeah, that should be it. I think. I think I cover everything. Yeah, and for the fire one, pretty much the same thing. Yeah, for fire one, pretty much the same thing. Now, for fire one, I think you have more liberty to not spam actions. You can make it pure attack, right? That can make it pure attack. Something like this one, like actually you use like imagine if this is fire, right? Imagine this is fire. So I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna switch onto a fire unit. Let's use a fire unit so people don't mix it up if they just randomly stumble upon this, right? So let's use a fire unit. Let's use this guy, right? And then probably hold on. This I actually don't know what fist to use for this one. Definitely not this one because it doesn't have. Hold on. The one in the back should be the same, but it's mainly choosing, I guess, your probably something like this. Yeah, probably like the S shell, right? Yeah, something like this is probably what you'll go for the fire one. That for the fire Wolong. So yeah. Where is it? Yeah, for fire Wolong. Hold on. And yeah, that should be it about the thing. I'm putting back the Thunder one because I don't want people to mix it up. I don't have another, fire Wolong for people to use. So that. Also, sorry if I start sounding a little bit tired because yeah, something just hit my brain and I'm just like dead. But anyway, Wolong is one still using NC. Yeah, I think it's not as prevalent, but it's a tool. Again, it is a tool for you to frame shell. The thing is, the damage doesn't come from the burnings. Yeah, the damage doesn't come from the burnings. I think the damage mainly come from just the pure amount of attack that it is doing. Which again, flame shell works, right? Flame shell works. It increases fire damage to 50%. So yeah, it definitely works. Yes. Actually, it might work better. So I didn't try. If you depending on what if you want to, first of all, only use fire Wolong if God somehow gave you like another full 5 copies of Wolong for you to use the fire one. Then you can test it, on S shell and on fire shell to see which one you think are better. Because yeah, fire shell does do more damage, so which can potentially help break the threshold for 0 more. While S shell is still on the more debuff side, so maybe you do want to go for a full out on attack if you're using the fire Wolong. But for now, I don't know. I haven't used it much, so I couldn't say that much about fire Wolong. But that was my thoughts on fire Wolong. Yeah, maybe you do have to go on full attack on fire Wolong in PvP if you want to use it. In PvE, obviously, it's just a regular support build, which they can just see my builds on anything else. So like or anything else, like they can see my builds on like Zhonghu or something like that. Yeah. Alright, any questions, guys? Any questions? If not, I'll probably call it a day. I'm a bit tired. I need to timestamp my videos, and I also need to do something real quick as well. So any more questions, guys? I'll be talking about Mamie Awaken on the next stream, hopefully, if I'm able to do that. And yeah, I'll be putting out the timestamp soon as well, so definitely stay tuned on that. So any more questions, guys? Any more questions? If not, I will be calling it a day. It's almost 2 hours, actually, or not 2 hours, about like 1 hour and 30 minutes. So thank you, thank you, sir, for coming by. Thank you. Oh, my voice, I'm losing my voice. Also, the music is gone. Oh, the music paused, I think. It's a witch gun. It's overshadowed immediately by, some other units, so yeah, I think at least. I don't know, I haven't used it yet, but I don't see its use being going up from the past report, so yeah. Or maybe there have already been new reports, but the last one I saw is not that high, so. But I'll see you next. Okay, yeah, sure. You can also ask me on Discord if you want me to. Like find a Discord where I am in, just tag me, hey, is Bahamut this and that, and I'll answer it when I'm free, okay? So if you want to do that. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys next time. Goodbye. Alright. Ugh.